2 weeks ago when we did our Hall of Fame show, I told a Gregg Popovich story.
Oh, no.
That involved you. Can you take us back to Christmas Day 2015 and describe your very first live sideline assignment?
I mean, the fact that I had never done NBA sidelines before. So I was with you in studio for, I was a house cat, as I'd like to call myself. They didn't let me out of the Bristol headquarters until, that Christmas Day. They're like, hey, can you do sidelines? It wasn't just like, hey, can you do this random Wednesday sidelines, in November? It's like, hey, we need you on Christmas Day. And we need you to be in Houston as the Rockets and James Harden are hosting like Tony Parker, San Antonio Spurs, and Gregg Popovich. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I was a little naive. I'm like, yes, Christmas Day. And then as it got closer and closer, I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to interview Gregg Popovich. This is okay. All right. But I'm like, it's Christmas Day. I'm on the phone with my dad. I'm like, oh, maybe I should do something like a little different, get a smile out of him. I don't know. And then before the game, we're having the coaches meeting with Gregg Popovich. I'm on the call with PJ Carlesimo and Ryan Rucco. And PJ and I had done, NBA Tonight together for the last 2 years. So and of course, PJ was on Gregg Popovich's staff. And so pregame, PJ is like, Pop, you better be good to my girl. You better be good to my girl. And Pop, this was not at the peak of his sideline bullying, but on the way down, I would say. And he goes, well, I don't really like those interviews. Oh, no, duh. We know you don't like those interviews. But he was like, there's only 2 good questions to ask. What did you like and what do you want to improve on? And I'm just like, okay, I'm writing that down. And PJ's trying his hardest, but I think it's having the opposite effect. I'm like trying to make sure that, Pop treats me well. Unfortunately for me, it's always the hardest to have a coach heading into the fourth quarter for obvious reasons. But I thankfully had Gregg Popovich after the first, since they were the visiting team. But they were losing. And I had this whole plan, but I was still nervous because I had asked the first question, and he was in my head of there's only 2 questions that you can ask. There's only 2 acceptable questions. And I'm thinking about, well, what happened in that first quarter? Down, why are they losing? There's so much stuff that goes through your head. And I get up there, I'm so nervous. And I think I said, my first question was, what did you not like about what did you like about what happened in the first quarter? And I think I said it 100 miles per hour because I just wanted to get it out. And he gave me an answer. I think he said pick and roll defense. So he didn't, shrug me off or, say that's stupid. He gave me an answer. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I stuck to my plan. I'm like, well, because it's Christmas, we thought we'd give you a gift, and I'm not going to ask you a second question. And he really wanted to give me a laugh, but because they were losing, he gave me a little smirk and he walked away. But I feel like I kind of, I always say that this was oh my gosh, I had Gregg Popovich, my first ever sideline game. But the fact that it was Christmas Day, I had a little out because I had, I could come up with that little kind of kitschy idea. But I survived, but it wasn't the last time. And I got popped many times after that.
That was such a boss move. I swear to God. I mean, it really was. Not only was it a boss move, but it was like a boss move by a quote unquote rookie, right? I mean, not you were a rookie, but rookie in that role. And it was like, I mean, you handled him, Cass. You're too humble. You're too humble to say that, but you just handled him.